and I thought you all went home. We are so grateful to be here right now. We're so grateful to bring justice and a closure to this case. To those families that lost loved ones or suffered injuries that they'll live with the rest of their lives. For a police officer, a young man starting a career at MIT, and a police officer with the MBTA who almost lost his life, and for neighborhoods that lived in fear for an entire day, we are eternally grateful for the outcome here tonight. We have a suspect in custody. I want to thank all of the partners who worked tirelessly over the last 4 days, including the FBI, the Transit Police, our brothers with the Boston Police Department, the U.S. Attorney's Office, and the support that we've gotten from our governor over the last 4 days. We're exhausted, folks, but we have a victory here tonight. But let's not forget those people along the way. Thanks very much. Governor?
Thank you, Colonel. Well, on behalf of Crystal and Martin and Lindsay, on behalf of the MIT officer who was lost last night and the Transit Police officer who was injured, on behalf of the hundreds of people who were hurt by the explosions at the marathon, I want to say how grateful I am to the Colonel, to the Special Agent in charge, Rick Delorier, to all of the law enforcement who worked so well and so hard together to bring us to tonight's conclusion. It was a very, very complicated case, a very challenging case, and there are still some questions remaining to be answered. But as the Colonel said, because of that extraordinary collaboration and cooperation by all of these law enforcement resources and assets, and more to the point, people, professionals, who brought their A game, we have a suspect in custody tonight. I want to also just thank all of the members of the public for their extraordinary patience, their participation in this investigation by reviewing photographs of their own and others that were up through the media, and we thank you for that, and helping us narrow in on these suspects. They were helpful and patient, and we're grateful for that as well. It's a night where I think we're all going to rest easy. Carmen?
Good evening. I'm United States Attorney Carmen Ortiz, and I have to say that both the governor and the colonel have put it tremendously well. Tonight, we feel a tremendous sense of gratitude and relief. The ordeal that this community, especially this neighborhood, has endured over the last 24 hours, tonight we can sleep a bit easier. And all of the unpredictable, horrific, and yet heroic acts that have occurred over the last several days, starting with the terrible bombing attacks that occurred on Monday, here we are, and not forgetting the victims of the crimes that have occurred over the last several days. The victims of the bombings, as the governor said, Martin, Lindsay, Crystal, 2 officers have been hurt, 1 who lost his life, Sean Collier, Richard Donahue, who is fighting for his life. Our thoughts and our prayers are with their families. Tonight you're going to have many questions, but I want to say, as I have said the last several days, this has been a very active and ongoing investigation. And although for some of you tonight is a closure, for me the journey continues. And so this will continue to be an ongoing and active investigation as we sort all the details, continue to evaluate a tremendous amount of evidence, and file our formal charges. But I will say this, I have never been prouder to stand with a tremendous group of law enforcement here, from the colonel to the commissioner to my federal colleague, Rick Delorier with the FBI, all of the federal agencies, the state and local departments that have worked so hard since the attacks on Monday. so committed and putting their lives on the line as we fought the last 24 hours to try to get a suspect into custody. And so my journey and my office's journey begins, and this investigation will continue, so we will not be able to provide the details that you may want at this time, but as the days continue, you will get answers to those questions. Thank you.
Mayor Menino?
Thank you. I just want to say very briefly, thank you. Thank you to the law enforcement officials who work together. State police, Boston police, FBI, all working together. That's when government works the best. I want to thank also the citizens out there. For the last week, worked in, I know what's happening out there because of the bombing at the marathon. But today, because of the hard work of so many individuals, my Boston police working together with the state police, we have a conclusion that we're all satisfied with. But also, folks, I remember the folks who lost their lives this past week. It shall go on. We're a better city than what happened this past week. We'll get better. And to all of you folks out in the media, thank you for the support you gave us for this past week. It wasn't easy. Some days you said to us, why? Let me tell you, we're there working hard. I want to say I spent a lot of time with the law enforcement officials. They worked so hard this week to come to a conclusion. Tonight, night, we say thank you to them for the work they did, tracing down every one of those leads that we got, which is so significant to what came to the end of this case today. Carmen Ortiz, now it's up to her job to bring the federal courts. But I tell you, I feel so good about this. I tell you, I'm so happy because the people of our greater Boston area are able to sleep tonight because of the work of these individuals.
Good evening. My name is Rick Delorier. I'm the special agent in charge of the FBI's Boston Division. It seems like many months since Monday, April 15th, the day of the Boston Marathon bombings. Yet it has been merely 5 days since the tragic explosions that took 3 lives, critically injured over 180 spectators, and instilled terror and fear among the citizens of the city of Boston, the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, and elsewhere. Today, the city of Boston, the city of Cambridge, and the city of Watertown, and many other communities can breathe a sigh of relief knowing that 2 perpetrators who caused so much pain and anguish are no longer a threat to our personal safety and to our communities. Together, with the action and support of our Joint Terrorism Task Force partners, many of which are on the stage with me this evening, the FBI and our partners remain vigilant and continue to follow through thousands of leads and sifted through hundreds of tips, through thousands of man-hours to reach this moment. This was truly an absolutely intense investigation, and I do emphasize a truly intense investigation. As a result of that, justice is being served for the victims of these terrible crimes. I want to personally express the FBI's profound thanks to each of our partners for bringing us to this moment here this evening. No one agency alone accomplished this critically important task of keeping the city of Boston and the Commonwealth of Massachusetts safe. Thank you very much, and I support you. I thank you for your support of our media campaign the other day, which publicized the photos. I thank you very, very much for the support that the media provided us on that. It was phenomenal, and I thank each and every one of you tonight. Thank you.
Commissioner Davis?
Thank you.
4 days ago, my city was ruthlessly attacked. There's no explaining the savagery involved here. There's no explanation for it. I spent the last several days looking at hundreds of hours of videotape. I got to see how brutal that attack was over and over and over again. But more importantly, I got to see what the Boston police officers who responded to that scene, along with the medical personnel and the other first responders, did to put people back together. Tourniquets, stemming the bleeding with their hands, putting a man who was on fire out with their hands. These are the kind of things that came out of this